I'm Jamie O'Kane, CPA, Small Business Advanced Tax Planning and Compliance Extraordinaire, and this is the Abundant Beans Podcast, the podcast that takes my love for learning what makes people tick while digging into the good, bad, and ugly of small business ownership. We strive to give you the insight that only those in the trenches of being and working with entrepreneurs can provide. So today we're going to welcome to the podcast Angela Henderson. So Angela is an author, entrepreneur, small business consultant, speaker, blogger, mother, and a mental health clinician of 15 plus years. After continually getting asked for business advice, Angela found herself in front of women entrepreneurs who had the right ideas and bucket loads of skill, but didn't know how to translate into successful, sustainable business. Determined to change that, she started Angela Henderson Consulting in 2017. Also, one of the things I can't do is eye track to speak out loud. That's another one of my symptoms. All right. So first question for you is, what was your first job?
My first job, so I grew up in Canada, and my first job was working in a bingo hall. And so I remember pushing the cart around. I was 14, just going up and down the aisles. And I thought, I was in my brain, and there was somewhere in there going, there's got to be easier ways here to make money. But again, at 14, you don't know any different. So 14, I would walk up and down and talk to people, have great conversations. Again, you had to learn math really quickly. Mm-hmm. You had to be able to think on your feet. You had to be able to adapt. And so, I hope to be able to get my own kids having jobs earlier on, because I think it builds confidence, different thinking and problem solving skills, etc. So yeah, but the bingo hall is where I first got my job.
I love it. And I talk about restaurants all the time, and how they really translate to actually running your own business. Mm-hmm. Being a waiter or being a server is highly translatable.
100%. I mean, the people skills that you have to bring mm-hmm. on board,
the juggling of people's needs, the personality type differences, and you run your own little business in your section.
And it's up to you. Dealing with cranky people, mm-hmm. All of it, dealing with the ego and the hierarchy.
Yeah, totally true. I always talk about that, and I had that epiphany 10 podcasts ago when I was talking to someone. I was like, oh, that really does translate. And that's probably why I was a really good server.
Yeah, exactly. But again, that level of busyness too, right? It's mm-hmm. It keeps you going. It keeps you on your feet. You've got to be thinking all mm-hmm. the time. It doesn't stop. And so again, it's that constant movement. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are very similar, is that our brains go very quickly. Mm-hmm. We're always looking for adapting, pivoting, changing.
Processes, systems, making it quicker, making it faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, no, absolutely relatable.
Okay. So give us the Cliff Notes on your career journey.
So I started my high school in undergrad in Albuquerque, New Mexico, even though I'm from Canada. I did my undergrad.
Okay, I have to back up for a minute. So Angela is from Canada. She went to school here in the United States, and you live in Australia.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you'll get a little bit of all of those accents.
A little bit of a twang.
I love it. Exactly. I love it.
So yeah. So high school and undergrad was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And that's where I did an undergrad in psych and sociology. Mm-hmm. I then came to Australia, where I did my master's in social work. And then I went back to America, where I did my clinical prac in North Carolina. So mm-hmm. I did my clinical prac specifically with adults and with mental health. And so it was my job at that stage to do everyone's initial clinical assessment. Mm-hmm. So people would come in, I'd do a 2 to 3 hour assessment, and then I'd start to make those formal diagnoses, whether or not it was depression, anxiety, potentially ruling in or ruling out schizophrenia, etc. So that's what I did. And I did that up until 2 years ago. But what happened then is I had a little baby named Finley. I remember playing toys with him on the ground one day at about 9 months old. And I said, surely there's better toys than this, other than these bells and whistles going off. Mm-hmm. Full disclosure, we still have bells and whistle toys, and we still use electronics. But I just was at 9 months, surely there's other things. So I went looking for other toys that really worked on promoting, fine motor skill development, color recognition, imaginary play, and really allowing parents to play with the kids also to make those long childhood memories. And that's where my first business, Finley and Me, started. So over the last 10 years, we developed it to one of Australia's leading toy stores, which was fantastic. We had 1,400 different products at one stage. And then from there, my second income stream was I was an influencer. So I was signed with Netflix as one of their top 30 influencers here in Australia, New Zealand, and bigger brands similar to like Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, etc. And so that was great because not only was it a second income stream, but it allowed my brain, which goes a million miles an hour, to do different things, and I wasn't getting so bored. So that was great. And then Angela Henderson Consulting came into the pipeline, but it wasn't that at the beginning. People just started to ask to pick my brain, and being a bit naive to the whole consulting sphere, I was like, I'm a bit of a giver. Then it was like on my 2 months in, I was like, hold on a minute. I've done these like pick my dates 14 times. That's like, oh, if I start charging people for this, I have a second business. So I never went out to be a consultant, but because of my expertise in SEO and foundational elements really, and then obviously now growth stage where, one of my clients just had a 300K month this month, and things like that off of back of an e-product. Those are things that I'm like, okay, hold on, I do have this skill set. So then I started charging people. And now, I work with women in business to get all the pieces in place to have consistent 5-figure months and then on to 6- and 7-figure years without burning out in the process. So, and I do that through my one-to-one consulting. I've got a women in business mastermind that I run every 5 months. I run Australia's leading 4-day, 3-night women in business retreat. And I also have a group coaching program. So, so that's what I do now. So all from the bingo hall to here.
It's so funny how some of the consulting stuff kind of evolves. I have like 5 or 6 people now. They're like, so do you want a mentoree? And I'm like, sure. I'm like one at a time. I'm doing one right now. And I'm like, I love doing this. I love helping other people find their confidence and like their tax planning and like pushing them to charge more and all of that. But I was like, I can only do one at a time, guys. I'm still building a business over here. Plus I have a podcast.
Like Jamie's got one. Jamie can do one, but it's a lot of fun. I love being able to, again, before we were recording, I talk a lot about my ADHD, right? And I look at it as a superpower and things like that. And for me, it was like, I love still doing the one-to-one so much, and also the mastermind, because it's always something new. It's never the same. So I'm never getting bored. Whereas with the toy stuff, it was, okay, it's another new toy, but it was still like the process of uploading, selling, going to trade fairs. Where here, it's like, there's something new every day. So it keeps me and my brain happy.
Yeah, I think that's really important for us ADHD people. And I think my husband is finally starting to understand that like I'm always going to have something else going on.
Right.
Like,
yes.
I was birth doula for 3 years. And I loved it. I just couldn't be on call anymore. But like I always have to have something
else going on in the pocket.
It could be hobbies, it could be work, it could be, whatever. Yeah,
I get it.
Some kind of obsession right now. My obsession is knitting. I just learned how to knit, and so I have tubs full of yarn.
Yarn, as you do, because you can't just have one. You're going to need multiple ones.
Yes, and I have a whole queue of projects I want to do. So we'll see how far I get with all of that before I try something else.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, I did like nail polish and nail art for like 2 or 3 years, and so I literally have hundreds of nail polishes at this point because I'm a collector. I collect stuff. When I get
this is how I roll.
When I get knee deep in this stuff, like I just start collecting.
Yep.
So now I just have a ton of nail polish.
So you'll have nail polish. You'll have yarn. You'll have to have you'll have a mini garage sale. Do you know what I mean? To be able to do something else with that.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know. Hopefully I'll use it all up. We'll see what happens. So let's talk about, you talk about human to human marketing, and that's a new concept for me. I haven't heard of that. So can you talk to us about what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So human to human marketing, in my opinion, is the experience and interaction one faces with a particular brand. And so in our particular world that we're in most businesses will hear B2B or B2C. And though I don't disagree that B2B and B2C is still a necessary part of business, I think businesses, though, need to start incorporating the H to H marketing, because if you don't incorporate the H to H marketing, in my opinion, what's going to happen is that people are going to get left behind. We're going to, well, not people, our businesses are going to get left behind for those businesses that choose to implement H to H marketing. So again, creating that human experience, that experience and interaction with a brand. I'll give you an example. When I was first found out I was pregnant with Finley, one of the things that I craved was these muffins, and you got them at this beautiful Italian restaurant here in Brisbane, Australia. And they're like massive, massive muffins filled with blueberries and raspberries. And I've always drank Diet Coke. And so when I first started getting the cravings is I would go to this place called Tognini's, and I would go in, and at the beginning I would just order, like, can I have that muffin and that Diet Coke? And nothing really changed. But as I kept going back, it was like, oh, what's your name? I'm Angela. How far along are you in your pregnancy? So far. And then so on and so forth. And then that relationship. But again, it wasn't just the relationship. It was their ability to incorporate human to human marketing. Every time I went in there was an experience and an interaction that I was able to have with these people. So then Finley came along, and they're like, oh my goodness, how are you, Finley? Blah, blah, blah. And then they started to create the same thing. I was like, oh, I want to keep going back to that place. And then Chloe came along. So now Finley will be 11 in August. So I've technically been going there for 12 years. And I figured out middle of last year that I've probably spent close to $25,000 buying muffins and Diet Cokes over this time. Now, what's changed though is we're actually a 40-minute return trip to where, like 20 minutes each way, obviously, to where they go. But because my kids go to that suburb for school, and even if not Saturday mornings, we still wake up even on non-school days and drive there to get the muffins. So that's an example of human to human marketing, that I can probably get a muffin down the road that would take me 2 minutes to go and get. Their muffins don't taste as good as they did before. I think they're cheaping out on the blueberries and raspberries now. But the thing is that we keep going back, and we have for 12 years. But again, they could have just created the experience, but not an interaction, and it wouldn't have been the same. They could have created an interaction and not the experience. It wouldn't have been the same. But they've not only created an interaction and an experience for me, but for my children. So we keep going back. So I really encourage business owners who are listening to this podcast and really thinking about how are they blending human to human marketing into their own business. Like, Jamie, I'm assuming that you've got some sort of experience too, where, like, you either have a favorite hairdresser that you like to go to, or there's somewhere that you like to go to. Would I be correct?
Oh yeah, I have a few of those.
and you keep going back, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, because I have relationships. Like,
exactly,
so, and a lot of them are like personal service. Like, so like my chiropractor, you will have to kill me first before you let her go. She's amazing. My hair guy, one of my favorite people. Right? You just said hair guy. My personal trainer, I've been going to him for like 3.5 years now. Twice a week.
Yeah, but again, I'm assuming it's an interaction and experience, right? That keeps you going back.
Yeah.
Keep you on your toes. And there's a quote, I can't remember who says it, but it's like, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will not forget how you made them feel. Businesses, in my opinion, are so worried about where the next dollar is coming from, especially in startup. I get it. We've all been there, right?
Yes.
But you still need to treat them like a human and not like a number. So the more you can make your audience feel, the more that you develop that warmth, that interaction and experience that one faces with a brand, you're going to position yourself in a much better position.
That's really interesting.
And for me, as I've kind of looked at, there's, 3 reasons why I believe human to human marketing needs to be integrated into overall business plans. And one, to me, this is the most staggering statistic, is that most recent studies have concluded that your customers are human.
Oh, no.
Let's just repeat that, is that studies have concluded that they're human. like I just mentioned earlier on, is people are forgetting that these people that are buying from you still are human beings. They still have needs that need to be met, whether or not you want to address those or not, right?
Right.
But again, reason number one why you need human-to-human marketing is that, yes, studies have concluded that your customers are human. Reason number two that you need human-to-human marketing, in my opinion, is you must stand out and you must be the purple cow. What I mean by that is Seth Godin has a book called The Purple Cow. If you haven't read it, I strongly encourage you to read it. But he talks about him and his family are driving in the beautiful countryside of France. And as they're driving, they're just seeing these cows. And they're like, oh my God, they're amazing. And there was brown cows and black cows and white cows. But after a time, they became boring cows. And then they say in the book, but can you imagine if you had a purple cow? Now that would be interesting, at least for a little while. And that's why you need human-to-human marketing, is that in a world where things are so noisy, there's so many people that you're competing with, you must stand out and have a differential point. You must be memorable. Again, and you don't have to do anything, but it's like, when I say must, the sooner you can do this, the better you're going to grow your business. So you have to be thinking about how can you stand out and be the purple cow, and human marketing allows you to do that. And the third reason why you need human-to-human marketing is that emotional motivators drive consumer behavior. And when you drive consumer behavior, you have sales.
Yeah.
So if you're in business and you want to make money, you need sales. So my whole philosophy there is that, like, again, how are you going to emotionally get into these people? Well, again, human-to-human marketing allows you to create the experience and interaction, which makes people feel, which drives emotional motivators, and you inevitably will then increase your sales. So those are the three reasons why I believe that human-to-human marketing is so needed in our current climate. But the other component that I talk about with human-to-human marketing is the sales process. People think of, a sales process traditionally as you've got the prospect, you qualify, you present, you overcome objections, you close, you follow up, and maybe you provide some customer service. Maybe. But there's an amazing book where, excuse me, it's called The Go-Givers. And Bob Burke and John David Mann talk about it. And I look at the human-to-human marketing process as what these guys talk about in the Go-Giver sales process, is that you create value, you touch people's lives, you build networks, you be real, you stay open, and you will become profitable. For so many entrepreneurs, when I start introducing this concept of human-to-human marketing, it's very different to what everyone else is saying. Go get the leads, overcome the objections, rah, 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 get people through. No, that's fine, but you are just churning people. And that might be fine if you've got, like, I don't know, a $7 ebook. But even those $7 ebook people are still humans that are buying from you, right? So if you can create that interaction and experience early on for the $7 product, they're probably going to buy from you more and more. They're already a hot client. You've taken them from cold to warm to hot and put them into that ecosystem. So again, studies have concluded that most recent studies is that people are humans, your buyers are humans, treat them like humans, right? So that's what I really love about incorporating the H2H marketing, is that my sales process no longer feels sleazy, because my sales process now feels like I'm serving people. And because I'm serving people, and that is my whole aim as a business consultant, is to serve and move people through this process and to help them grow sustainable and profitable businesses, I don't feel bad about selling, because I genuinely know I'm creating value, I'm touching people's lives, I'm building networks, and because of that, I'm profitable.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time, I was actually just talking to somebody the other day, they're like, we need something that's low, low barrier, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but why? There's no value there. I was like, that's not what I do. Like, I focus on value. Like, anytime you sign up for a consult with me, I will give you tips.
Yeah. Yes, all the time, right?
Yeah.
And people forget about that. They forget about adding value first. And like I say, I'm not minimizing startups. Like, it's hard work, right? But I've always been like, if I can leave these people, even if it's an e-com business or a service-based business, better off than when they didn't know me to now when they do know me, I've done my job.
Yeah. If you get off a 45-minute paid consult with me and I didn't provide you value, I'm way off my game in that day.
Exactly right. And so, and I also, what I love about the book, The Go-Givers, is they talk about the 5 laws of stratospheric success.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about the first law is the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payments.
Mm-hmm.
They then talk about the law of compensation, and they talk about your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. They then go on to say the law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first.
Mm-hmm.
They also then go on to talk about the law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have is the gift is to offer yourself. And then they talk about the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in the world of gurus on the internet and everywhere else, people are like, go for the customer, go for the jugular, do this, do that, right? But again, you lead with those 5 common laws: the law of value, the law of compensation, the law of influence, the law of authenticity, and the law of receptivity. I don't know how life can't be positive.
Right.
And for those people that are like, oh, yay, manifesting or positively, no, it's like common sense.
Yes.
You treat people kindly and you will. And that's the whole essence about how, I've grown this business is, people say, well, how do you use human to human marketing to increase your visibility, your reach, and your sales? Is, I show up in my own Facebook community. So I've got a Facebook community called the Australian Business Collaborative. There's about 7,000 business owners from around the world in there. When mentors told me not to show up because it was a free group and a waste of my time, I didn't. I said, this is my way of actually treating them like humans. This is my way of being able to answer questions. This is my way of being able to add value and leave them better off. And I can't tell you how many people I convert to coaching clients, right? Because they said, Ange, I've been in your group for the last year, or I've been in your group for the last 3 months, and you and your team acknowledge me and you respond to my comments and you make me feel like a human and that it's okay to ask questions. If I would have done what my coaches have told me to do and just say, listen, have your VA do that. Okay, well, my VA is still in there, don't get me wrong, but we're tag team.
Yeah.
So if I miss a question, she can't provide value, she'll tag me. So I'm not answering every question because it's a group of 7,000. I would be there all day long, right? But the thing is, we've created a space. We've created an interaction and an experience that one faces with my brand and my team. And because of that, I'm disruptive. And what I mean is that I'm now the purple cow because all the other coaches want to go into their groups, and I call it the seagull effect, is you always know when it's launch time. Because these coaches miraculously appear in their groups. They shit their shit like a seagull shits on you in human life, right? And then they leave the group. I don't. I show up.
Yeah, so we started a group just when this whole COVID thing went down because there's just so much bad information about the tax stuff. And so I'll post really good articles and stuff in there. But what I've noticed about especially Facebook groups and people the programs I've signed up for, they don't monitor their groups. No. There's no, I'm are you gonna handle these people? It's
engage with these people, interact with these people, provide value,
but also moderate properly. There's a lot of not political stuff or just stuff that's just doesn't belong there. And it's why do I have to report all this? Where are you guys?
Yep. No, absolutely. I'm just in many ways you can damage your brand by having a group if you're not going to be present and actually, providing value and interacting. So I kind of feel like when I talk about human to human marketing, for me, it just is I feel like this should be it should be common sense, right? It should just be, but the thing is because of what we consume on the internet or on podcasts or everything else, it's and because again, it's very counterintuitive because people if I had value and I'm not making sales, then my business sucks. No, it's it doesn't work like that, right? So using human to human marketing to increase your visibility and sales can be again, you're showing up, you're being the purple cow. I also hop on my own discovery calls. Now, the reason why I do that is I could have a sales team and there's still talks about me getting a sales team, but I will still have a touch point with them every time before I convert. Because here's the thing is you don't walk into BMW and say you're going to take the $100,000 car without test driving it. You don't.
Right.
You go like, hey, do you have it in this color, or do you have it in leather seats? Like, I don't know. I don't own a BMW, but
I don't either.
Those would be the questions you'd ask. Like,
we assume that's how this goes.
Yeah. But you would be like, there's questions you want to sit in it, right? Is it standard or is it automatic, right? Like, what's going on? You ask questions. So again, when I've been told by all my own coaches is that you must go out and have a sales team, this never felt good for me, because I'm like, if I'm about to sign someone and I'm going to work intimately with them for 6 months.
Yes.
And I don't hop on a call with them to make sure we're the right fit, I've actually just potentially screwed them and me.
Right.
Because I'm now like, oh my God, dreading getting on phone calls every month with these people. And so for me, as I show up in my groups when others told me didn't, I hop on discovery calls when people told me didn't. And I also work really hard to remember particular things about people. That might sound so minuscule, but in my group, if I'm doing a live and I see that Johnny's been on every time, be like, hey, Johnny, I will make sure I find a way to find out, where does Johnny live? Does Johnny have kids? What's going on? Because then the next time I'm on, hey, Johnny, hope's all well down in the Gold Coast. Have a great weekend with your kids. Thanks for hopping in. The amount of emails I get again from people going, thank you so much for, like, you said hi to me.
Yeah, you acknowledge.
Or you remembered that I had a baby 6 months ago and you asked how I was going. Like, I know it might seem minuscule, but again, if you put them in the forefront of your mind as they are human beings buying from you, who want to experience that interaction again with you, how can you not, like, there's a lady just recently, every Christmas I give money away to random people, and I'll just say like, hey, if you know someone, let me know. How can I help? And this lady messaged me and she said, listen, I don't have money for gifts for my kids. And she said, and I said, that's cool. That's all I need to know. Please give me your bank account and I'll transfer money through. And I was just doing my new Instagram course, where it's a business course for businesses, $27 course, actually, just to get people in and get their Instagram up and running, especially for those new starters businesses. And she said, I'd like to gift 3 of these courses at $27 to people in your community. I don't want to be named. And she's like, I don't know if you remember me, but 3 years ago, you put money in my account. And she goes, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. And she goes, this is my way of repaying it again now. So it's like, she's never bought anything from me because she's no longer in business, right? But she remembered that interaction and experience that we had with my brand. And then she just saw this come up and she's like, this is what I'd like to do. So again, if you remember and lead by treating people as humans first, I'm telling you, like, I've really only just done Facebook ads for this particular business in the last 6 months or so, like really, really ads. Everything else, I haven't made hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. Do you know what I mean? Through ads. I made it through my relationships with people, because they also, what people forget by human to human marketing is I will be in multiple Facebook communities. People will ask for a business consultant and they're tagging me. You need Angela, you need Angela, you need Angela. But I've never even worked with these people.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, so then I'll look at their name and then I'll go into my group and they're in my group. Or that's the only direct thing that I can put together as the puzzle piece, right? Is they've seen me show up in my group. They've seen me treat people like humans. I've shown up with kindness. I've added value, and they do my marketing for me.
Right.
And I'm just like, so important.
I love it.
See, so it's just about remembering that and again, my last thing that I really talk about human to human marketing is the importance of conversations equal connections and equal conversions.
I like that.
So the more conversations you have with people and you treat them like human beings, the more conversions you're going to have. So think about, for those listening right now in your business, when was the last time you picked up the phone and had a conversation with your people? Any person that comes into my 12-month group coaching program, which is my lower end product program, I call them every single week myself to welcome them to the program. I've got time dedicated. Now, I don't have hundreds of thousands of people coming through, because obviously I'd have to make a new thing, but there's maybe 5 to 6 coming through. I will set time aside. I will call them. I spend 10 to 15 minutes with them, just welcoming them into the program. And I can tell you this, hand on heart, I've only ever refunded 2 people in my entire business career. So again, you might think, oh, it's a little bit more work, poor me, but it isn't. To me, I look at this as treating them again like people, and my longevity with these particular people pays itself in dividends.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love, actually just, I avoid the phone, but I had a client call yesterday, and we just talked for a long time. I was like, everything good? She's like, yeah. She's like, I just wanted to update you on this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, all right, I got notes. We're good to go. And I was just like, it just kind of reminded me that I need to start making more phone calls. I mean, we have a lot of touch points with our clients during the year, like on purpose.
Right. Yeah.
And we do Zoom calls with a lot of those touch points.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a good time to just like, what's going on? What's really going on?
What's really going on?
I have my own agenda, but if there's something else you need to talk about, tell me now, and we'll handle it, right?
But the other thing though too is like most people don't answer their phones.
I don't.
Because they're like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
So, but what they do again is that experience and interaction, you've created a memory.
Right.
Oh, Ange took the time to pick up the phone and left me a message.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my way to the Maldives for a mastermind, and I was stuck in Singapore, and we had closed carts the night before on my program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had my list of everyone, and I just used Skype credit in the airport to call each of them. And of the 12 people that signed up for this particular round, 10 people didn't even answer their phones. It literally was like, hi, it's Ange, hang up. Hi, it's Ange, hang up. But then the 2 people that did answer, they said, one person goes, oh my God, how did you get my number? This is fraud. Ange is on the way to the Maldives for her mastermind. Like, no, I'm here. I'm in Singapore. But they couldn't believe that I'd actually done it. And another person was like, oh my God, like literally said, I'm pulling the car over because I can't believe it's you. So what I'm saying is again, they're like, I've solidified that they're important. I've solidified that I appreciate them, that again, I'm adding value to these guys, right? Same thing with my Women in Business Retreat. I run Australia's leading Women in Business Retreat. We cap it at 50 people only. It's super intimate group of people. And every year before we go, I spend about 3 hours and I call all 50 people. Again, though, here's the thing. Like 80% don't answer the phone, people.
It's like 5 of them.
They don't call back either.
Nope. I won't
but they will
back.
send
I'll
me
be
a
like,
message.
thanks for calling though.
But they will send me a DM because God forbid they call me back. But they'll get a DM. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so excited to get to the retreat. I loved your message. Yeah, I'm pumped, right? Yeah. But again, those 50 people have now another imprint into me caring about them and their needs, right? So you get to choose what you do, but I can sit here and say that I don't make the money I do because of Facebook ads. I've made the money because what I do is because I add value into people's life through human to human marketing.
I love that. And I do a pre-interview for every podcast because I want to make sure we can hang out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Totally.
It's like, I just want to talk to people who are going to give our client, give our listeners some amazing value and that I can riff with. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this authentic too. Right.
100%.
100%. Okay. So that was awesome. I had other questions, but we're going to wrap it up. So, what is the easiest way for people to find you?
The easiest way is I say, each and every one of you will have different needs. And so if you want to listen to my podcast, if you want to read my latest blog article, if you want to book a discovery call to work with me, head to my website, angelahenderson.com.au, because then you can pick and choose where you see yourself in my ecosystem. So yeah, angelahenderson.com.au.
And then we'll drop all that stuff, all the links in the description box.
Yep.
So we talked a ton about human to human marketing. So, what is your number one piece of advice for a business owner to implement just today to start the process of that human to human marketing?
Again, pick up the phone, send an email. And again, if you don't want to get on the phone, there are things like you go to Instagram, you can voice record. Yes. You can voice record on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can it's how can you connect with them in different ways than what everyone else is doing. Yeah. So your emails, your stock standard, you're responding in a DMs, your stock standard. So many people are like, oh my God, I didn't even know you could voice record. This is amazing. This is awesome, right? Again, they hear your voice There's an emotional connection. So my thing is pick up the phone, send a voice message, look at how you can start, just make a list of your clients, put some time into your diary, just do it. Because I'm telling you, once you do it once and you get the reactions from people and you start to see that growth happen, you're going to think, why didn't I do this earlier?
I love it. I like looms because I'm constantly reviewing stuff for people. And I was typing out this long ass email yesterday, and I was like, never mind, I'm firing up my loom. This is a 10-minute loom. Max. But it helps people so much to hear my voice over what I'm trying to show them.
Yeah, there's also another really cool app called Buongiorno, where it's Bonjoro, and what happens is you can actually bring your entire list. So if you've got segmented email lists in your CRM, you can bring them over to Buongiorno, depending on what it is, and then it will give them their name and their email, and then you just record the live video and on right there, and it will send it out to them with no questions. And you can have a templated email. So you record your email, you choose the template that you want to use just for the email written part of it, and it will fire it off automatically.
That's really cool. I really like that because I just do better. Talking to people. And I will say 1,000 times. It's totally fine. I've done it on this podcast millions of times. But you get the real me. And a lot of the time I'm very confused. You get my whole process of wait, is that right? Wait, no, maybe this.
That's what makes it work, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you have an awesome day.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to listen. If you learned something and found some useful information to apply to your business today, please consider giving us a thumbs up and a review. Until next week, be abundant.